Namashishtam manamapi Sachiputam Ataswarupam Rupam tasya grajamuripurim Maturim gostuatim Radha kundamagirivaram Aho Radhika madhuvasam Prapto yasya patita kripaya Sri Guru tam natosmi Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Dadali Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Anandalilamaya Vigrahaya Hema Bhaddivyacchavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Bhaktya Vina Aparada Lakshan Siddhasya Kamani Taram Kamati Ipa Maikam Sharanam Rabana Rinde Namaste Charanarvindam Rinde Namaste Charanarvindam Govinda Damodara Madhavi Govinda Damodara Madhavi Govinda Damodara Madhavi Govinda Damodara Madhavi Everyone Hare Krishna Hare Yadava Hare Saketi Govinda Damodara Madhavi Tavaivasmi Na jivami taya bina Iti vikyaya devi tam Namam Charanantikam. So first of all, I offer my Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy spiritual master, my supremely worshipable transcendental Guru. Asmadeya Paramaradhyatama Guru Pada Padma Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Ashtotara Sata Shishimad Rupanugacharya Varya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands and thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara, to my spiritual master's spiritual master, and to his Guru and to his Guru and his Guru, and to all the great personalities by whose diligent endeavors and unconditional compassion the nectar of Krishna Prem, pure transcendental love, descends from the ancient time to this present day. And finally, offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Vancha Kalpaturvrascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyavatam Patitanam Pavan Vaishnavibhyo Namo. when the opportunity comes to be in the association of pure devotees and hear, chant and remember about the beauty of Sri Krishna's name, form, qualities and pastimes, then that occasion, that opportunity is not an ordinary event, but it comes after lifetimes and lifetimes of searching and accumulating the piety through known, unconsciously and conscious acts of devotion to God, leads to that opportunity. So for a few days we have been discussing the very basic fundamental principles of Vedic knowledge. Sri Vyasadeva has given Vedanta Sutra, Vedanta, the essence of the Vedas. 550 sutras, of these we have selected 5 to give an overview of the essence of this. So the first sutra we have discussed. If you remember, you can raise your hand. Okay. What was the first sutra?
Tarka Pratishtanat.
And what does it mean?
Logic has no foundation.
Tarka Pratishtanat. Our power of reason is utterly inadequate to grasp the transcendental reality, which is beyond the realm of our physical mind and physical senses. Taka Pratishtanat. So as this sutra invalidates the Arohapanta, the ascending process of collecting knowledge, data in pieces and fitting it together. At the same time, it validates the Avrohapanta, the descending process of knowledge. How? From the beginning of the creation, Sri Krishna imparted the Vedas unto Lord Brahma, and then this has come down over millions of years in Guru Parampara in the form of Shabda Brahma, spiritual sound. This spiritual sound is not a message. The sound itself is the reality that it describes, because it is absolute. The vibration of the name Krishna is Krishna. And the Guru trains the disciple, fine-tunes the heart of the disciple to be able to receive that vibration of the Vedas. You know, all around us radio waves are there, but you cannot hear anything. But if you have a radio and it's tuned into the right wavelength, then the sound will come. So, the name of Krishna, the description of the pastimes of Krishna given in the Vedas, that is directly Krishna himself. He's directly there, his qualities, his pastimes, everything are there in that sound. But the Guru very mercifully attunes the disciple, the heart of the disciple, to be able to receive that. The form of Krishna, the qualities and pastimes of Krishna, they're all manifested by Swarup Shakti or Parashakti, his transcendental spiritual energy. So when his Swarup Shakti is within his divine form, then it is called the Ananda, joy. And when it comes out from his form and enters into the heart of a living entity, then that same Shakti is called Bhakti. Bhakti, devotion. And therefore, Bhakti Yoga is the process of attuning ourselves with the desire, with the will of God, with that which gives happiness to God, and thereby becoming the conduit for the flow of the Ananda, the power of God's joy, Hladini Shakti, Bhakti Shakti, the power of devotion. So, all activities in this world cause reactions. That is karma. So it seems that no one can ever become free from karma because no one can live without acting. But in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna said, Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim asrita. The Mahatmas, the great souls, the broad-minded persons, they are not under the control of Maya, the material energy. They are not under the control. They are not forced to act helplessly out of false ego by the tamas, tamagun, rajas or sattva. But rather, all their activities, all their words, deeds and thoughts are directly inspired by Daivim Prakritim Asita, by the transcendental pleasure potency of God. That is bhakti. So there is a way to transcend this material world by engaging in the process of bhakti yoga, one's heart being very finely and carefully and precisely attuned to the will of God. That is called pure bhakti. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana kamadyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilam bhakti uttama. Transcendental bhakti is that devotion which is completely devoid of even the slightest trace of the selfish motivation, which is continuous, uninterrupted, unbroken flow of all the activities of one's body, mind and words and feelings. This is Uttama Bhakti, transcendental devotion. So that devotion, that energy, is the light by which one can realize and see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Premanjanachurita bhakti vilochanena santak sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayantim yam shama sundaram achincha gunasrupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the pure devotees, whose eyes have been smeared with the ointment of love, prema, they see continuously within their hearts. They have a direct perception of the beautiful form of Shyamsundar, smiling, playing his flute, which is otherwise achintya, inconceivable for the material mind, imperceptible for the material senses. So the first sutra we've discussed, Tarka Apratishtanat. First, by our logic we cannot understand. But receiving the Shabda Brahma, the transcendental vibration in Parampara from Sri Guru, by the mercy of our spiritual master, we attune our life in such a way as to directly perceive Krishna. This is the process. The second sutra, who remembers the second sutra? What does it mean?
The world is actually creation of divine.
It is here not the word creation, but transformation. When we discussed yesterday, if you have a pot made of clay, then this pot made of clay can never be separated from the earth because it's made of earth. So in the same way, all things are the transformation of God's energy. So God is present everywhere and within everything at all times. Only we have the consciousness of ignorance, ignorant of the presence of God, ignorance of the sacredness of everything and every moment. This is why Plato, he said, wisdom begins with wonder. Wisdom begins with wonder. What does that mean? Ordinary person is walking around. Life is kind of mundane and dull and boring, nothing new happening, whatever it is. Or they're trying to search for some entertainment and something to amuse them, to break the monotony of existence. Like this. They have no wonder. But wisdom begins with wonder means that when the soul becomes humble, very humble, and the spirit of trying to exploit our environment for personal enjoyment, sense gratification pollutes the consciousness and makes it very dull. But when that offensive spirit of the arrogant spirit of enjoyment, lording it over the energy around us, which is God's energy, we are not the lord of that energy. We are servants of God. So when that arrogance has gone and humility has come, then that person sees everything is Krishna's energy. So wonderful. How are things going on? Even the greatest scientist cannot explain how his own fingernails are growing. How did it happen? He cannot, even the greatest scientist cannot make one grain of rice. They cannot understand. Everything is so rich and complex and is a manifestation of the mystical power of the Supreme Lord. So that Supreme Lord and His divine energy are everywhere, present in everything. And when the consciousness is purified of the obnoxious and arrogant spirit of selfish enjoyment and humility comes, then every moment is filled with wonder, with the awareness of God's presence. So Vyasa in the Vedanta Sutra is telling, Atma Krite Parimnamat. All things are a transformation of the energy of God. And so all of the energies are wonderful. But some energies are more wonderful than others. So this material world is wonderful. But within the bodies of in this material world, there are souls. You, me, we're all souls. And that Shakti, which enters into the material energy, in material nature, and causes the bodies here to be animated, is even more wonderful. So the soul does not belong to the inferior, that is called Apara Shakti, inferior energy, the material energy. Soul is the marginal potency of God. It is a transcendental energy. Its manifestation is not temporary, as the things of this world are. It is not unconscious as the things of this world are. It is fully conscious and has an incredible potential. What is that potential? If there's a fire, then the sparks of the fire, they have same quality as the fire. They are red, they are hot, they emit light, but the fire is great and the sparks are small. But if the spark will jump out from the fire and land on stone, then it will go out. So we are like that. We are the same quality. If God is like a great fire, our souls are like tiny sparks. Eternally individual, yet still one in quality with God, but not in quantity. And when we leave, our consciousness turns away from God, and then we land on this stone that is come to the inert material plane, then our spiritual qualities are diminished, they are covered. But just see, if a spark will land on a haystack, then what happens? The dharma, or the nature of the spark to burn, begins to expand and expand and expand. and can even become more powerful than the original fire. So how wonderful is that? In the same way, you are a soul, a tiny particle of the spiritual energy of God, but when you become situated in the Swarup Shakti, Krishna's energy of bhakti, then your power, your propensity to love, the loving propensity of the soul, expands and expands and expands and becomes so powerful that Supreme Lord, who is the controller of all existence, becomes overpowered and controlled by your love. That's amazing. That's amazing. So every single person you can see in this world, because you can't see the soul, you see the bodies, but you can infer the presence of the soul by the fact that the body is alive and moving. So there's a soul in there, and every single soul, Jivera Swarup Hoye Krishna Nitya Das, Krishnera Tatasta Shakti Veda Ved Prakash. Every soul is by nature an eternal servant of Krishna, and when they're situated in their constitutional position of bhakti, then their loving propensity expands and expands and becomes so powerful that the supreme control of all existence becomes controlled by their love. And that is why the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, it's there even on the front cover before you even open the book. Because right there on the front cover of Bhagavad Gita, there's Krishna driving the chariot of Arjuna. Seeing the love of Arjuna, the feeling comes in his heart. He loves me so much, what can I do for him? I want to serve him. So on the front cover of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is every Gita. It's a tradition that there's a painting of Krishna holding the reins of the chariot and driving Arjuna's chariot. So how wonderful is that? So every time you meet someone, we give respect to them, to everyone. Because everyone is that Atma. Everyone is an Atma by nature, the eternal servant of God, with the potential that their love can control Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Everyone is like that. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, Utamaya panake manitrinadam jive samandibe jane Krishna adishtan. Even though a Vaishnava, a pure devotee, is the highest of all persons, of all the members of society, he is superior because he has supreme awareness, consciousness, knowledge, realization, devotion. But still, though the pure devotee is the highest person, he personally thinks, I am the lowest. And in that spirit of humility, he gives respect to everyone, knowing that you are a servant of my Lord Krishna. And that Sri Krishna himself, my Lord, is also present in your heart. So he respects everyone. So think about this. Wisdom begins with wonder. When we are struck with wonder by everything at every moment, with a full honor for everyone we meet, this is the beginning of wisdom. If someone adopts such a mood, then they can chant purely. Any other mood, any other attitude is simply obnoxious and arrogant. One's life is like a bull in a china shop, only smashing the sensibilities of others and all creatures, and committing many, many offenses all the time. And therefore, even though the name of Krishna is so powerful, due to aparad, offense. Aparad means offense. But in Sanskrit, the word rad means pleasure. And apa is a prefix which indicates away or to vanquish. So aparad, that which vanquishes the pleasure of God, that which incurs the displeasure of God, that attitude which is not pleasing to God is called aparad. So anything other than that humble attitude of wonder and respect for all is displeasing to God, disrespectful to God. It is aparad. And therefore, even though the vibration of the syllables Hari, Krishna is so extremely powerful and non-different from Krishna himself, and in a moment can fully eradicate all contamination from the heart and awaken one's divine eternal relationship with God and reveal everything. Yet the name, the mantra, by his own choice and free will, due to being displeased, withholds his power. So this is the only difference between a pure devotee and an ordinary person. Because the ordinary person has the arrogant, obnoxious attitude, therefore they chant Hare Krishna and they don't realize anything. And the pure devotee, because he is extremely humble and respectful and aware of the presence of God due to his spirit of service. Jesus Christ said, a man can only have one master, God or mammon. Here mammon means worldly things. Either we are serving the worldly things or we serve God. What is our spirit? What spirit do we have? And this is why in the beginning of our spiritual life one must accept a guru. Guru means spiritual master. Where is God? I don't know, I don't see. Then how will you serve? Okay. Accept a pure devotee as your guru and think, oh, God is present here, before me, in the form of guru, and now serve. What guru is he telling? What guru is instructing? And what service he is giving? We apply ourselves very diligently, selflessly, without duplicity. And in this way, our spirit is transformed from serving mammon to the spirit of God's service. After that, when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then only the vibration of these syllables is so extraordinarily powerful that the lotus of the heart begins to open and all divine transcendental realization comes. So, our second sutra was Atmakrite Parinamat. All things are the transformation of God's energy in three divisions: the mature energy, the spiritual energy, and us, the marginal potency, who have the possibility to turn in either direction. Worldly life is to turn towards the mature energy, and the act of turning towards the spiritual energy is called Bhakti Yoga. So, our next sutra. Who remembers the next sutra? Raise your hand. Yes. Goham pravistav atmano. Two souls have entered the heart. There is a friend who stays with you at all times, that perhaps you have forgotten, but he has not forgotten you. So he is following you everywhere, lifetime after lifetime. And in each lifetime tries to create some opportunity for advancement and development by sending the saints and the scriptures, and sometimes incarnating himself and giving teachings. So this sutra is very important because Atmano is in the dual case. One of the major misconceptions in understanding the Vedas is that Atma and Paramatma are the same. They are not the same, they are two. The Vedic scriptures do not give the monistic conclusion of absolute monism. All the Vedas have emanated from the Brahma Gayatri mantra. Om Bhur Bhuvaha Swaha
Tatsavitturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat.
What does Devasya mean? Pran Gopal, Devasya. Okay, what does Dev
That
mean?
which is divine.
Dev. Dev
Divine.
is masculine. Dev is masculine noun
Yes.
and singular. Devaha.
Devaha.
Devaha. Masculine, singular noun. So there is one God. And he is Purush. Purush because it's masculine. In Sanskrit there is Pumling, masculine, Striling, feminine, and the Brahmaling, neutral. So here, Devaha is not neutral. God is not it or thing. God is not a thing. God is Purush. The Purush. Devaha. Devasya is the Shasti Vibhakti, the genitive case in Sanskrit. Means of God. He is an individual being and he has Shakti. Bhargo, Bhargaha means effulgence. So God is a Purush, a personality who has powers, divine powers. Dhimahi. What does Dhimahi mean?
We meditate.
Dhimahi. What does it mean?
To me.
Huh?
To me.
To me. No.
We meditate.
The word Naha means to me. Actually it means Naha is plural. Not Ekavachanam, Dvivachanam, but Bahuvachanam.
To us.
Plural. So Naha means actually to us. Naha. So what does Dhimahi mean? We meditate. Not I meditate, you meditate. Not singular. No, we meditate. So the Brahma Gayatri mantra indicates that we, the devotees of the one Supreme Personality who is endowed with spiritual potencies, we are meditating upon that Supreme Lord. May He prachodayat, may He kindly inspire us. That means inspire us with realization that we should realize Him. Because we cannot know Him by our power. But He can reveal Himself to us by His power. So that is the essence of the Vedas. That God is one. And we, all the devotees, we are many. We are many. And we are all eternally engaged in His service. So the conclusion of the Vedas is not the monistic. Therefore in the sutra, Guham Pravistav Atmanohi. Atmano. Two souls are there in every heart. Atma and Paramatma. Then, fourth sutra. Who remembers the fourth sutra?
Api Samatane Prakshat.
Api Samradane Pratyakshat. That Supreme Lord can be discovered by Radhane, means in the Radhana. Radhana, Radha. The word Radha has come from this. Means devotion. Samradhane, Sam means complete. So by complete and pure devotion, one can pratyaksh, have direct perception of that God. So yesterday we were discussing the nature of pure devotion. So come with me now. Don't be in New Zealand. Park your body and mind here and leave your ego here also. Don't worry, it will all be there when you get back. And by your soul, come with me now onto the bank of the Ganges in Prayag. There at the famous bathing place, Dashashvamedha Ghat, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking along the Jamuna, and Rupa Goswami was coming the other way along the Ganges, and where the two rivers meet, they met together and sat down together at that ghat. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to give shiksha, teachings to Rupa Goswami. He told him, "Hey Rupa, the ocean of bhakti rasa, the nectar of devotion, is endless. It's impossible to describe, but just to make you understand, I'll describe one drop. There are millions of species of life, 8,400,000 different species. And of those, only 400,000 species are human. And of millions of humans, most of them are not civilized. And out of those few who are civilized, out of millions of those, there are very few who are following the principles of the Vedas. And of those who follow the principles of the Vedas, who accept Dharma, then most of them, they only give lip service. They speak about Dharma, but in their heart, they're interested in their own enjoyments. And a few they are following to become purified, to discover the soul and the Supreme Soul. And out of those very few who are following to discover God, some have become liberated from this world. And muktanam apisiddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prasantatma kotisvapi mahamune. Out of 10 million liberated souls, you may find one pure Vaishnava, Narayana Parayana, absorbed in the service of Krishna. Such a great soul is completely peaceful, perfectly realized. And that is called Sri Guru. So, Brahmande Brahmate Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. When by good fortune a soul is wandering here and there, he meets a Guru, then he can receive from that Guru Bhakti Lata Bij, the seed of the creeper of devotion. In other words, the transcendental energy of the spiritual world, Bhakti Shakti, is not present anywhere in this world. You cannot find it. But when we associate with the pure devotee, then by his association, he instills one drop of that transcendental potency into your heart. That is called Krishna Seva Vasana, the desire to serve. Wonderful idea. Service. But not, sometimes, the idea comes to serve. Good people, they want to do some service, some community service, some national service. That idea comes to them. But due to ignorance, due to avidya, not understanding the nature of the soul, their service propensity goes in towards the material energy. And therefore, it does not do any permanent benefit for themselves or others. So, Krishna Seva Vasana, the realization of the importance, no, the absolute necessity of directing our service propensity towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only that is, in that lies auspiciousness and eternal benefit for us and for everyone else also. Yatataro mula nisechane na chanti yat skanda bhajopashakha. In the Bhagavad Purana it is said that if there's a tree, there are many leaves, there are many flowers, many fruits and twigs. If you want to help them, you have to give some water. But you cannot put the water individually on each leaf. You can try, but you will not be successful. Some leaves will get water and some leaves won't. However, that's also besides the point, because the leaves don't take the water. The root, only the root takes the water and then distributes that benefit to all of the leaves. So in the same way, one may have a spirit. I want to help this person or that person or whatever. But you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. Because everyone is controlled by the stringent laws of karma. When it's your turn to die, all the best doctors in the world, they cannot save you. All the money and technology in the world cannot do a thing. When you're in your egg timer, when the last grain of sand has run out, game over. No one can help you. And then according to karma, you go into another situation and another, like this. So we are like the leaves. We cannot help each other, actually. Only this is one type of illusion. But when water is put on the root of the tree, then that is distributed to every leaf and branch, like this. So similarly, when our service propensity is applied to the root of all existence, the root, the foundation from which we have all come, Janmadhyasya yataha, that from which everything has emanated. When our love, when our energy and our service propensity is directed there, then everyone receives actual, substantial auspiciousness and eternal benefit. It is the best for you and also for everyone else. Anyone you meet, everywhere you go, every situation can be transformed. Like when everything is buried with snow and a snowplow is very big and pushes everything out of the way. Wherever devotee goes, he's cleaning everyone's karma by the sound of kirtan, by harikatha. This is actually benefiting everyone, changing the direction of their destiny from going up and down and round for lifetimes in the material world to uncovering the soul and discovering their eternal life of perfect happiness, that for which every soul is hankering. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, when we meet the pure spiritual master, the Guru, at that time, by his association, by hearing mantra, by hearing the katha, then the spirit comes. I have to serve the root of all existence, Sri Krishna. This is best for me and for everyone. So that is outwardly manifest as Shraddha or faith. Shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe Sudrida Nischoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarvakama Krita Hoy. Faith means the unflinching conviction that simply by serving God, then all other responsibilities have been fulfilled. It's rare, very rare. This feeling will come only when you associate with an enlightened, pure spiritual master. Because no one else will teach that. Because no one else even believes that it's true. Because their consciousness is only in the flux of temporary material energy. So Shraddha, faith, has also been defined in Amnaya Sutra. Shraddha tananyo varjam bhaktun mukichita vitti vishesh. Faith means the special disposition of the heart, which remains at all times inclined to acts of service to God, forsaking all other means. So it only comes when we meet a saint, an enlightened person. Otherwise anyone cannot even understand it. Jesus Christ said, all were going to a funeral. He told them, let the dead bury the dead. Come with me. Serve God. But who could understand his message? who'd believe it. No, we have to make this funeral, it's very important. No, your life is for one thing. You exist for one thing, the service of God. So Brahmande Brahmete Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasari Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. After wandering for many lifetimes, when by good fortune we meet Guru, by the grace of God we meet Guru, by the grace of Guru, this particle of Shraddha, this divine energy, tiniest, most indivisible atom of spiritual energy in the form of Krishna Seva Vasana, the desire to serve Krishna, comes in the heart. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Rupa Goswami, what did he say? We're just recapping yesterday's discussion. Then what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? "24 hours, not so long time." He said, "Mali hoya sei bij kare aropan, shavana kirtana jala kare sinchan." Become a gardener. I think everyone likes gardening. Huh? Gardening is wonderful. So relaxing. You're close to nature. So Mahaprabhu said, become a gardener. Take that seed of desire that you have received from your Guru and plant it in the garden of your heart and give some water every day. What is that water? Shravana Kirtana Jal. The water of Shravan and Kirtan. Hearing and chanting. And if you give water every day, and especially one type of hearing and chanting means hearing your own chanting. That's also good. You can read Bhagavad Gita, you can chant Hare Krishna, it's also good. And better than that is to hear the chanting of a more advanced devotee. Who is more advanced, they can help us come up to as far as the level they are on. And also, if they know another saint who is more advanced than themselves, they can also say, come with me and bring you to the association of higher persons as well. They are not selfish. If there's Guru, but there's a higher Guru, then that Guru will also take you to meet the higher Gurus. It is not the role of Guru. He never thinks, I am the master. No, I am only playing the role of the focal point of your service so that you can develop the Sevabhriti, the spirit of service. So that is also a service. So Guru never thinks, I am Guru. Guru thinks, I am the servant of everyone. Once one reporter came to Srila Prabhupada and said, "Oh Swamiji, I have heard from your disciples that you are Jagat Guru, the Guru of the whole universe. Are you the Guru of the whole universe?"
No.
He said, "No, I am just the servant of everyone." So such a person is really Guru, qualified. So, one must water the seed of devotion with hearing and chanting. And it will gradually grow. After some time you will see a sprout will come. The seed will sprout and begin to take off. Like Jack and the Beanstalk. It grows up and goes past the heavenly planets, Swargalok, Indralok. Going past that means that you have become free from desires of this world and desires of that world also. And then it breaks through the coverings of the universe and goes into Viraja, now free from Rajas, passion. Then enters Brahman, the light of Brahman. But go on chanting and goes higher, goes beyond Brahman. That means that you become free from the desire for mukti, moksha, nirvana, liberation. You don't want. Go on chanting, and that desire will grow and go up to Vaikuntha, where Lord Narayan is present as Bhagavan, God. But even this we don't want. In Goloka Vrindavan, there, Mother Yashoda, she never thinks that Krishna is God. He is my Lala. He is my baby. The cowherd boys, they never think that Krishna is God. The gopis, they never think. They think he is my sweetheart. So that highest realm of love beyond ignorance and also beyond knowledge, we want to go there. So go on chanting with a strong sambandha, gyan, being fixed in the relationship with Krishna, a natural relationship like the residents of Goloka Vrindavan. This relation is given to the disciple by the spiritual master at the time of Diksha, in the Gopal mantra. So in the mood of the Diksha mantra, Gopal mantra, one should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Then there's the possibility that the creeper of devotion will go beyond Vaikuntha and arrive at the lotus feet of Krishna and take shelter there. Then the flowers of bhav, ecstatic love, appear, and then the fruit of prem. The fruit of prem. And though the devotee is in this world and chanting, while he's here, he's tasting the rasa, the juice of that love of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. So our life is for this, not for anything else. Don't lose your time, don't waste your time. Even if you forsake other things, there's no loss. But if you concentrate on these things and forsake bhakti, at the end you will lose everything and you'll also have no bhakti. So then you have nothing. So we should be intelligent and invest in the business which is 100% profit and no loss. Not invest in the business which is 100% loss and no profit. That is worldly activities. And bhakti is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, who is the greatest capitalist? Ramananda Rai said, the pure devotee. Because all of his investments, they give a big return and no loss, all profit and no loss. So, now, yesterday we discussed to this point. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you want to be successful in this project, then you have to pay a price. What is that? Vigilance. You have to be extremely vigilant. Because as you know, when you are gardening and you sprinkle the water, all of the water is not taken by the plant that you are growing. There are weeds there also, and they also take the water. And the weeds begin to grow and they can choke the plants also. So what are the weeds? Nisidacha kutinati jiva insana labha puja pratishta adi jatu upashakagana. As you are chanting and remembering, the name is so powerful that it will bring many side effects. That is not Shuddhanam, the pure name, but when we chant the name with aparad, with some offensive mentality still, we have some sincerity, but we have some worldly desires and so on that we're holding on to. Then what happens? Now you've become in contact with the most powerful force in the world, the name of God. So it will act. And what types of material desires and so on you have, they'll start to be fulfilled. So all things will come, whatever you need. Thousands of people will come and bow down at your feet. Money, power, influence, charisma, everything. All these things will come. But what is the use of this? If you have not love in your heart for God, all useless. But these things are attractive and distracting from the path of pure devotion. Even Yog Siddhi, the mystic powers of the yogis, they come very easily from the chanting of the holy names. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, be very, very careful. As soon as you see a weed is growing, then you have to be very vigilant. Identify, this is not bhakti. My motivation here is wrong. I'm doing this activity, but for another motivation. Be introspective and see it in yourself. Especially be in sadhu sangha. Because Guru can see in your heart, he knows why you are doing the things that you are doing. Even what you will not admit to yourself, Guru knows. So open your heart to your spiritual master and he will take out these. And also yourself, be attentive to remove any ulterior motivations which are appearing. Nisidacha kuti nati jiva insan. Mahaprabhu says, first nisidacha. Nisidacha means the forbidden activities. Certain activities are forbidden. Of course, very gross activities, such as eating meat, fish, eggs, the tamasic foodstuff, taking any type of intoxication, alcohol, cigarettes, any types of drugs, down to the not so powerful ones, but still they're drugs, nicotine, caffeine, coffee, tea, black tea, all these things. Everything which is uppers and downers, that lift you up and make you, which sedate you and which stimulate you. If you take them, your mind will never be in equilibrium. Because whatever stimulates you will make you crash, and whatever sedates you will keep you in a crash state. Whatever sedates you, when it wears off, you make you become hyper. You'll go into a hyper brain state, like this. So when these fluctuations are got, you can never meditate. And if the mind is disturbed, shoka marsha dibir bhavaya akrantam yasha manasam katham tasya mukundasya spurti sambhavana bhavat. It is said in the Puranas that how is it possible for a person whose mind is attacked by lamentation, by anger, even by indignation. Someone insults you or mistreats you or disrespects you and you become indignant. Why? This is the symptom of pride. Because if you are prideless and someone disrespects you, it's nothing. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, one who is the same when he's honored and also same when he's dishonored, that person is eligible for the nectar of the transcendental life. Yam hi na vyatyanti te purusham purushashabha samaduka sukham dhiram somratattvaya kalpate. One who is the same, undisturbed by happiness and distress, loss and gain, victory, defeat, honor and dishonor, heat and cold. Only that sober person, dhira means sober, that sober person is eligible for amrita, immortality. So, here, shoka marshadibi bhava akrantam yashamanasam, one whose mind is attacked by the anger, lamentation, complaining, indignation and whatever. How is it possible that they will have a spurti, a vision in their heart of Mukunda? That means Krishna, the one who very easily liberates one from this world. Not possible. And unless and until we have a spurti, even a momentary spurti means a bursting forth of the vision of God within the heart, reflected in the consciousness. Unless we have a spurti of Krishna, you cannot be a Vaishnava. You cannot be a Vaishnava. It means a devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, there are three types of Vaishnava. Vaishnava, Vaishnava-tara and Vaishnava-tama. A Vaishnav, Vaishnava-tara, comparatively superior Vaishnava and Vaishnava-tama. Like good, better, best. Positive, comparative and superlative. So Vaishnava, Vaishnava-tara and Vaishnava-tama. So he said, who is a Vaishnava? A Vaishnava is a person who has chanted the name of Krishna once. And who is Vaishnava-tara? One who always chants the name of Krishna. And who is Vaishnavatama? One who is so powerful, so realized, simply upon seeing him, by seeing him, you chant. When you see the name comes, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. These are 3 levels of Vaishnava. So the first level means one who has chanted once. So what does that mean? It means one who has chanted the pure name. One who has chanted purely. One who has chanted without offense. Because if a person will chant without offense, then not even the Shuddha Nam, not the pure name has not even come yet, but only the light emanating from the pure name. From this, they will have a spurti of Krishna in the heart. So that moment, when for the first time, just once, you see Krishna in your heart, when you chant Hare Krishna, now you have become a Vaishnava. That is Madhyamadikari. Actual Vaishnava. Madhyamadikari. The Konishta, the neophyte, is not yet he's trying, but he hasn't really become a devotee yet, because the actual divine realization has not started. They have some faith in Krishna. They have some faith in the process of bhakti also, because they can feel how it's changing their life. They can feel the darkness of being dissipated and the purity is coming. They can feel that. But they have not yet been able to peep through the clouds of ignorance and anartha and have a vision of God yet. Even once. So who has had that vision once is Vaishnava. And who is constantly having that vision, always chanting purely, is Vaishnavatara. And who is so deeply absorbed in the Vishuddha Sattva Swarup, the beautiful form and pastimes of Krishna, who they are situated in their own spiritual body even. They're extremely powerful. And if we have their association causes us to give up our aparats that we can chant once also. That the name will come without any offense. So, first thing, one weed which is growing, we are all gardeners, we have to be vigilant, take care of our garden. One weed we have to pull out is nisidachar, forbidden activity. Don't eat the tamasic things, rajasic things, or anything which has not been offered to Krishna. Only take prasadam. Offer everything first. Everything that belongs to God. If you take it without offering to Him, you are a thief. And if you offer to Krishna first, when you take it, it's purifying. It will purify the mind and senses. Ahara shuddhi, sattva, ahara shuddho, sattva shuddhi, sattva shuddho, stira buddhi. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it is said, if your eating is pure, then your consciousness will be pure. And when your consciousness is pure, then it will be steady. In that steady consciousness you can have spurti. The realization of God comes. Not in the turbulent mind. In the perfectly still and peaceful mind, the spurti of God will come there. So, in addition with our chanting, there has to be proper diet as well. Because what we eat affects our consciousness. If you eat food cooked by materialistic persons without devotion, who are very lusty and materialistic, when you eat it, your mind will become like that, lusty and materialistic. And if you eat the food that has been prepared with devotion to God, your mind will feel naturally devotion will come in the mind. It's very important. So first thing, nisijacha, the weeds of forbidden activities. Here also forbidden activities, gambling, and improper association among the sexes, among the genders. This is all forbidden activities. So if it will come, it may, because the material world is very dangerous and Maya is very powerful. If it will come, it has to be taken out. If you can't do it, go to your guru. Guru will take it out for you. Will remove whatever problem comes on the path. Soul is very insignificant and conditioned for so many lifetimes. He has not the strength to overcome all problems. So the shelter of Guru is there. And by Guru's shelter, grace and mercy, by serving Guru, Guru's mercy will remove what you cannot remove yourself. So Nisidacha, then Kutinati. Kutinati means duplicity. Duplicity. It sometimes happens that when persons, they come to the spiritual path, they come to this path with great sincerity. But what happens? As time goes on, they gradually become beset with duplicity. They gradually become crooked. They do their daily practice, but for a show, to impress others. They lose the essence of where they're going. This is so relevant. It's no joke. There are many cases. Because especially in religious and spiritual organizations, as you make progress, then respect comes to you and you become promoted to higher and higher positions. And then you become comfortable and satisfied. And the original burning, blazing, all-consuming desire to find God, it goes down and you become lukewarm. And you rest on your laurels. And then if some competition comes, someone else is competing for your position or anything, or someone who is more influential, more learned and more devoted than you, then it turns into politics like this. So you see this in every spiritual organization, everyone. Our Paramesti Guru, Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that religious institutions are like the dikes and the dams that stop the flow of the living entities on their journey back to Godhead. And he said, don't think I'm saying this out of a deliberate malice towards any institution, but rather it is the nature of the material world. It is the nature of this world. Because the spiritual life is only present with the sadhu, with the saint. When the saint is present, then all are inspired. And if that saint leaves this world, then no amount of rules and regulations and the liturgy and all constitutions of the society and all of these things, they can never be a substitute for the divine presence of an enlightened being. It's impossible. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, when the pure devotee leaves, if he leaves behind an institution, then there is no power on earth that can prevent the putanas from occupying the pulpits. Putana means pretender. There is no power on earth which will prevent the pretenders from occupying the pulpits. It's impossible. Do you know why? Because those who are truly on the path of spiritual life, they're exceedingly humble and they have no ambition. And therefore they don't compete with others for positions within any organization. And so quite naturally, when the charismatic leader of any spiritual movement disappears, then those who are not very humble and who have some motivations and so on, they push themselves forward and they occupy the positions and they squeeze out the ones. They're called the esoterics. In every spiritual movement throughout the history of the world, there are two types of people: the esoterics and the exoterics. The esoterics are into the esoteria. That means the materially intangible essence of that spiritual movement. It's materially intangible. You can't make a business out, you can't sell it. It's not a product that you can sell. So they are the esoterics. And they are the exoterics. They're into the external trappings of the religion. How you dress, what you wear, and all of these things, and souvenirs and this and that. And they want to turn it into a business. And so what happens is they take over and the esoterics are pushed out. They become the renegades. But because they are charismatic, then others gather around them, like this. So this is the cycle of life, and it will always be like that from the beginning of time till the end of time. Wherever persons come together and they try to congregate and make some spiritual movement, it's always degrades and breaks down into lifeless rules and regulations in the absence of a living, enlightened spiritual personality. But wherever there is a living saint who never governs on the basis of conventions, but is spontaneous and knows how to apply the teachings of the Vedas according to every single circumstance, then there is no chance of any spiritual movement degrading into a shadow of its former self or a worldly movement. So, kutinati means duplicity. Be careful. When you're making progress on the spiritual path, this weed will start to grow. Be vigilant, watch out for it, and wherever you see it, pull it out. Nisidacha kutinati jivahingsa. Jivahingsa means envy. Jiva means living entities. Something will grow, envy towards other living entities. That's the opposite of love. We came to the spiritual path to develop love. But you'll see what will happen. On the one hand, you're advancing. But as your influence increases, then you'll see that there's a tendency, due to weakness of heart, that you may become envious of the influence of others. And also, because we have a responsibility to give guidance to others, there's also a possibility to exploit them. You see? So what do you find? In many spiritual movements, there are complete scandals. Terrible scandals. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his same essay, he said that without the guidance and support of a pure saint, those who try to make progress by themselves, they will slowly transform and they will become guilty of such heinous crimes from which even the most hardened criminals of the material world will recoil in disgust. Why do we see that in many spiritual movements and churches and so on, many terrible things take place? This path of spiritual life is a very high stakes game. You're playing with a very high level of energy. If you cannot channel these things properly, with experience and shelter and guidance of a realized person, then everything can go horribly wrong. And it does. It does. If you open any newspaper, you'll see everywhere the terrible things. This is very sad, because then the common people who need the spiritual practice in their life, they use that as an excuse. All this religion is bogus, and they reject. Due to the deviant spiritualists, then they reject and they lose their faith in the genuine ones. So that's a great tragedy. A very great tragedy. So be careful. As you advance, these creepers will start to grow. You have to be vigilant and take them out. Nisidacha, forbidden activity, duplicity, and that duplicity will lead to some enmity, either competition with other spiritual persons, or the exploitation of those you are trying to help, who have come in with an innocent mood and simple faith. So these weeds have to come out. Then, labha puja pratishtadi jatu upasakagan. The next one is labh, profit. Profit. That means when you engage in the spiritual path, money will come also. So if you are not sincere, if you have duplicity, if you take this money and you use it for yourself, you will be destroyed. Everything should be used in God's service. Once there was one Lord Ram Chandra, he was ruling his kingdom in a very safe and fair way, just way. And he used to send his messengers out. If anyone has an injustice or complaint, come to the king, and he will solve it. In those days, the leaders had a responsibility for the lives of those they were ruling, not just to tax them, but they took responsibility. So then, one dog came to the palace, and he complained, I have a complaint. One priest, one Brahmin has beaten me with a stick. Really? So then Lord Ram said, oh, send for him, bring him here. So then Lakshman was looking, they found that priest and brought him before Lord Ram, the king. So Ram said, is this true? Did you beat this dog with a stick? He said, Your Majesty, yes, I admit to the crime. I had been fasting for many days. I had not eaten anything. And after many days of fasting, you know, if you fast on Ekadasi, you might become a bit cranky, a bit grumpy. The patience shortens somewhat when you're fasting. So I was fasting a long time, and I was about to go out and beg some food to break my fast. And I had taken a bath, so I was clean. And this filthy street dog came and he was blocking my path. So I tried to go around him and he went this way. I tried to go this way and he went this way. I tried to go around him several times and he kept blocking my path. So I took a stick and said, hey, get out. I'll do it. And I hit him. But I should not have hit him. So I have done wrong. I'll accept whatever punishment. What punishment shall you give me, I accept. So then, Lord Ram, he said, I cannot decide what the punishment should be. So I asked this mangy street dog, he's the one who's been wronged, so he should decide. So then he said, dog, you tell us, what punishment should we give to this Brahmin priest? So then the dog, he thought, and then there's one very beautiful temple, very opulent temple, called the Sringaramat. He said, make him the temple president of Sringaramat. This is the punishment. So everyone was surprised. Why? You want to punish him by giving him such a high position in a temple, in charge of one very famous temple. Why do you want to do this? He said, the dog said, because in my last life, I was the president of that temple. And many people were coming and giving money. And I was very careful to keep all the accounts. But somehow or other, I misappropriated a small amount of money. And for this, now I am a dog. Now I have come into this position. So make him the president of the temple. So this history has been given there to show that when we are on the spiritual path, one has to be very sincere and never be deviated by any material things. Everything belongs to God and should be used in His service. Labha. One thing. When the soul is conditioned, he cannot utilize wealth in the service of God. So what he has, he should give to his Guru. And Guru will take the karmic poison out of that. Because in wealth, the work that has been done to create the wealth may have also done some destruction or damage to anyone or any living being or in any situation. And that karma is in the money. When you take the money, then this karma comes to you. And if you're not transcendental, you cannot digest, then your mind will turn and become wicked. And so those persons who take spiritual positions and they receive money, they're taking all the karma of the activities that brought this money. Some priest is there, some holy man, and he's running some church or temple or something. And so one butcher is coming and giving his donation. Where did this money come from? if he uses it fully in God's service, okay. If he'll take something for himself, he's taking that karma also. So though he began on the spiritual path with sincerity, he cannot digest all these sins, and his mind will turn. And this is what it. Don't be surprised when there are problems in spiritual organizations. I'm telling you frankly how these things work. And this is why it's necessary to have a guru, to understand the intricacies of the path of spiritual life, that we don't fall in the traps and become ourselves conquered and blocked by the obstacles which are there. There are many obstacles on the path. Without guru, we will not know how to go beyond them, how to avoid them, and how to overcome them. So, labh, how to deal with the gain which comes as a side effect of spiritual life, which is practiced in a way which is mixed with some worldly desire. Puja. Puja means the worship of others. Who can digest it? Our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, when his disciples would bow down to him, he would fold his hands and say, Dasosmi, I am your servant. Pure devotee never accepts the worship of anyone. All should worship pure devotees. They should. But that devotee never accepts their worship. Everything he's passing to his guru. There's a very beautiful history. You know, Saint Francis. He was walking with one old monk. And this old monk was thinking, everyone is listening to Saint Francis. He's young, but everyone is listening to him, following him, worshipping him, serving him, respecting him. Why is that? Is he really qualified or not? Is he actually humble or is he a pretender? A very convincing one. So then to test him, that old monk said, Why you? Why you? Why you? Saint Francis said, Why me? Why me? Why? What do you mean, why me? He said, you are not particularly handsome. You are not very beautiful. You are not very learned. You are not from a very high aristocratic family. You are not wealthy. Why you? Why is everyone listening to you and following you and learning from you, respecting you? Why you? So then Saint Francis said, oh, why me? Why me? And then he fell to his knees and began to pray very, very intensely for a long time. Then he said to his friend, God is everywhere. His eye is everywhere. And He sees everything. And sees everyone. So he searched throughout his entire creation for the most vile, wretched and incompetent person. And he found him. It was me. And then he decided, through you I will do many wonderful things. And by this I will achieve two aims. One, I will cut the pride of all those who are proud of their wealth, their beauty, their learning and their aristocratic birth. And number two, I will prove once and for all that all wonderful qualities come from the Creator and not from the creature. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Yadyat vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitam eva va tam tam eva avagachatam mama teja angsa sambhavam. Hey Arjun, this is an answer to the question, this is an answer to the mystery. If a Vaishnava, a pure devotee, a saint is so great, so qualified, so wonderful, why does he feel that he's the lowest person? That he's the most unqualified? Why? Because he's the only one who knows that whatever qualities, whatever good qualities he has, they're not his. They don't belong to him. They're God's qualities, given by grace, and I have nothing. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, "Hey Arjuna, you should know whatever beautiful, opulent and marvelous things there are in creation, that all of this is but a tiny particle of my splendor." So on the one hand, the saint knows whatever qualities I have, that all are respecting and giving honor to me for, these are not mine, they are God's. And however great they may be in the eyes of others, that's nothing. That's just a tiny atom of the qualities that God has. Understand? So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Labha puja pratistadi jata upasakagan. Watch out for the forbidden activities. Duplicity. Enviousness towards others. And any enmity you feel to anyone else has to go. Jesus Christ said, if you come to the temple to pray, but you remember you have a quarrel with your brother, stop praying, go back, make friends with him, and then come back and pray afterwards. Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that Supreme Lord said, I never accept the prayers of any person who has any enmity towards another living being. If you have a quarrel, you have an enmity with someone, if you think that you are better than others or others are less than you, then you can pray. God's not listening. First make peace with everyone, then pray. So enmity, this has to come out, and it will. Even if you feel you have no enmity, as you are progressing, it will come. It will start to grow. It's a strange thing. When you try to become pure, you'll see all of so many impurities that you didn't know, they begin to manifest. It's like beating a carpet. You had a rug in your home. It looked quite clean, but anyway, it's time to clean it. So you put it on the line and you take a beater and as soon as you beat it, a big cloud of dust comes out. And there's so much dirt there you didn't know was there. So spiritual life is also like that. You are thinking, oh, I am actually quite religious and saintly. Okay, now try to do sadhana. Start doing sadhana every day. Wake up early, chant your mantras every day, do puja, serve your guru, then you'll see what starts to come out. You'll see what starts to come out. It will be like the temptation in the wilderness. Satan will come to you, practically. So many things come. So, Mahaprabhu said, take out the enmity towards others, any envy, the attachment, the distraction of profit, the distraction of the worship of others, and pratishta, the desire for fame. A person may not want anyone to worship them or anything. They may want to stay alone. But they want to do something which will make them, that when they die all for many generations, everyone will remember them. They want pratishta, reputation. All these things come. And when they grow, they choke the bhakti lata, the creeper of devotion. Devotion cannot grow in the presence of these weeds. Impossible. So they have to be uprooted. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Yadi aparade, Yadi Vaishnava aparade uti hatimata, Udaya vachinde tara sukhi jai pata. There's another thing. When a plant is growing, you have to make a fence around it when it's young to protect it. Otherwise a wild animal will come. Especially in India, an elephant will come and just pull it up and destroy it. He may uproot it or may just break some branches, damage. So that wild elephant which destroys the creeper is called Vaishnava aparad. The offense that we make to other devotees. Don't make any offense to a devotee. What will happen? It is like a mad elephant. If the offense is done unknowingly, you do it by accident, it will not uproot the creeper, it will just become damaged, broken. and your bhakti will not grow nicely. Otherwise, if knowingly you make an offense to someone, then this is like the creeper is the roots are pulled out of the ground. So the creeper is still there, but what happens? When a plant is uprooted, the creeper is still there, but then all the leaves go dry. So what happens is, if we commit offense to a saint or any person on the path of devotion, by criticizing them, then your practice is still there, but it becomes dry. There's no current, there's no nectar of sweet internal realizations growing. Every day more realization should come, fresh and new, that you want to chant more and more and more. That this name never becomes old, that your practice never feels boring. But you wake up each morning with a urgency. Oh, time is passing, I have to chant. What new realization will come today by the mercy of Krishna? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But what happens when offense is there? Then one is doing everything externally, but no internal inspiration is coming. That means the leaves of the creeper have dried. And also you can then deviate and leave the path also. So be very careful. The fence to protect us from offense, to become free from offense, you have to make offense. Make a fence to protect yourself from offense. That fence is the association of saints, pure devotees. I'm not joking. If you will not associate closely with pure saints, you will not be able to defend yourself from a stampede of elephants who will come and trample everything, destroy everything you've been working on for years and years. Stampede of elephants, not one, so many will come. In a herd, you will not be able to check it. Unless you associate with the saint. Because by associating with sadhus, we learn the spiritual intelligence to understand the nature of Maya, this world, and how Maya provokes the living entities to make offenses to each other. Understand? Someone is on the path of spiritual life and one of these weeds is growing. Right? It just started to grow. So then if you see one weed growing in someone else, you have some enmity towards that person. I knew all along he was bogus. Like this. And then you point out that weed to someone else. This is offense. That person is diligent. After a little time he saw the weed or he went to his guru and his guru has taken it out. Like that. So it's gone. He's a gardener. His bhakti is growing. Something weed began to, but it was removed. Like this. But for any political purpose or anything, you say something. To whom you speak also they repeat and go before it spreads everywhere like wildfire. That means it becomes a herd of elephants running everywhere. And then in that community, every person in that community who is critical, who is speaking ill of others, they all get trampled by a herd of elephants. And all their bhakti is finished. In a second it can happen. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote one article. He said there are 3 types of ninda, Vaishnava ninda or criticism of a devotee that destroy bhakti and spell doom for the individual. Number 1 is a fault in the behavior of a devotee that they have done whatever years before pure bhakti appeared in their heart. To meditate, to remember that even. This is the first type of Vaishnava ninda. What anyone has done before. The appearance of pure bhakti. The second one is, some weed appears now, but the devotee is sincere. So bhakti is pragalpa. Pragalpa means audacious, powerful. Bhakti has a certain impudence. The devotee is humble, but bhakti shakti herself is powerful. And even some weeds come she can deal with it. If even any sin, some sin comes also, the devotee does not have to do any atonement. Bhakti Devi will wash away the result of that sin even. So to point that out, something is not from years before, but just now, if you point it out, then it becomes aparad. And the third category is that, and this is the really, really dangerous one, the devotee is very advanced, but Krishna himself creates some situation in the advanced devotee's life to make them become more humble, like Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was very, very advanced, but he became attached to a deer, a fawn in the forest, and by this temporarily he was derailed from the path of spiritual life due to attachment. But Krishna himself created this attachment, that shortly afterwards he would realize the error of his ways, and his determination, his humility, his hankering for God would be intensified 1,000 times over. So how much worse is that if there's really no fault in a devotee, but God himself creates a fault in order to project, if you have a catapult, you have to pull it back this way first and then let go. If you have a bow and arrow, you have to pull the arrow this way first before it can go that way very fast. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has defined 3 ways in which a person may see a fault in a devotee. And any one of them, if you become involved in that, and speaking about that, and so on, then this is called Satam Ninda, the first offense to the holy name. There are 10 offenses to the holy name. Most devotees in this modern age of Kali Yuga, they, as they say in the hurdles, they fall at the first fence. There are 10 offenses. Forget the other 9. The devotees, mainly we see, they cannot overcome the first one. How sad it is. Why? Because unless we associate very closely with the saint and hear from them, we will not be infused with sufficient spiritual intelligence to understand the world around us, and we will invite. Hello? Hello? Are there any elephants out there? Come and trample me. Here I am. And we invite them. We invite offenses. So be very, very careful and receive the spiritual intelligence. Because it is the faults in others. That is not their test, that is our test. Because seeing a fault in another person is the provocation that Maya uses to reveal our own envy. You understand? We think, I'm not envious of someone. When they have a fault, and then, makes us feel good. They're not so high after all. No, not like me. That fault is not in me. If that fault were in you, you'd be quiet, you would not say anything. But you think, this fault is not in me, but in that person. Like this. And so in this way, Maya provokes the latent envy in the heart, and that it grows. And that enmity grows, and that invites the elephant to come and trample the creeper of devotion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sesuna. Amani na amane duna kirtanya sira. Consider yourself to be more worthless than a blade of grass. Tolerate everything like a tree, more than a tree. Give respect to everyone. Don't expect that anyone will respect you. And then in that mood, if you will chant continuously, what will happen? Ye rupa loyla nam prema upajoy tha lakshan slok suno swarup ramarai. That is the price that we have to pay to attain prema. If we will chant in that mood, according to the mood of that verse, then at once when we chant, Krishna is so pleased that though previously we may have made offenses to the name decides, okay, now that devotee has changed. Now they are really sincere. They have lamented for the offenses they have committed in the past. Then Nam begins to manifest his power. And this is really Mahaprabhu's first teaching. Before the verse Trinada Pisani Chena, what is the previous verse? before Trinadapi Sunechena in Shikshastaka. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nijasa. Oh my Lord, all Shakti is there in your names. Smarane Nakala. Can remember these names at any time. Oh God, you are so kind that you allow us to approach you through your names. Duradaivam idrishamiha janinanuraga. But Duradaiva, I am so unfortunate. Here Duradaiva means I've committed many offenses in the past. Therefore, janinanuraga. Therefore, I don't feel anurag. Now, there's a secret in this verse. You all know the verse quite well. There's a secret in this verse. Durdaivam idrishamiha janinanuraga. Due to my offenses, I'm not feeling anurag. Here the word anurag means utkanta. Utkanta means eagerness. A burning eagerness. Literally, ut means up and kanta means the throat. If a person is so eager for something that they feel that they'll die without it, then what you see, your soul is floating on the pran in the heart. And when you're about to die, the pran pushes the soul up. And he may leave wherever. Depends where your destination is. But very often people leave through the mouth and the soul goes like this. So when the soul has come up to the neck, that means that's the moment just before death. You see? So utkanta, my soul has come up to the neck, indicates a very intense eagerness. No one will see God when they're just like sitting there casually. I was just sitting there one day, flipping through channels on the TV, and God showed up. No, ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. The vision of God comes to those who have a burning eagerness that they feel, if I don't meet you, if I don't see you now, my beloved Lord, I am missing you so much. If I don't see you now, just now I will die. Then the vision of God comes to that person. And so we have to come in our life to that stage of eagerness. We want so many things, but we have to want to serve God personally, in person, so intensely that we feel that we cannot go on without it. This is our necessity. So that is called the anurago, utkanta, eagerness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, Durdaivam idrishamiha janinara. I am not feeling that eagerness because of Durdaiva, misfortune, that means my offenses. Now, combine this line with the first two lines. Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva saktis tatrapita niyamata smarane nakala. Very interesting. The word smaran is used. Oh my Lord, we can do smaran of your, remember your names at any time. We can remember your names at any time. Here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking about something called Nam Smaran. Nam Smaran. That if a person, without offense, without committing any of the 10 Nam apparats, beginning with the first one we have discussed, to criticize others, if a person will just remember the names of Krishna, the syllables of the name of Krishna, without offense, those names have the Shakti. As soon as they touch you, then you'll be on fire with great eagerness. That's the power of chanting without offense. Tanamadde sarvashastra nam sankirtan niraparad nam laile pai premadan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, the best of all angas of bhakti is kirtan, chanting. So, if you'll chant without offense, at once prema will appear. He never said, if you chant, but you also imagine your Siddhadeya, you also imagine Astakaliya Lila, or whatever esoteric things people are trying to push down your throat, whatever, and then you'll get love. No, just chant Krishna's names and don't make any offense. And this love will come. Because the power is not in your meditation. The power is Nija Sarva Shakti, the power is in the name. So Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Smaranena Kala. Another interesting question arises here. Smaranam. Does it mean we have to do Leela Smaranam? Chanting and remembering Krishna's Leela artificially? He's saying here, you can remember the name at any time. That is called Nam Smaran. There are different types. Jiva Goswami explains in Bhakti Sandarbha, there are different types of Smaran. Nam Smaran, Roop Smaran, Gun Smaran, Leela Smaran, and that Leela is first, Mantra Mayupasana Leela, and then Astakali Leela afterwards. So there's a development. So we can understand what is Roop Smaran, to remember the form of Krishna. You can do that, but you can sit in front of the deity, look at the deity and chant. And it will be Roop Smaran for those in whose heart the spurti has not come yet. If you chant without offense, there will be spurti of Krishna's form very easily. But if some offense is still there, then you can sit before the deity, chant and look, or a picture of Krishna. So, remembering the form of Krishna while chanting, that is the Roop Smaran. But what is Nam Smaran? To remember the name. Nam Smaran. This is a very deep mystery. And because it's the first step of Nam Sankirtan, Nam Smaran comes before Roop Smaran, become Gun Smaran, before Leela Smaran, of course. If we don't deeply understand what is Nam Smaran, we will not be able to progress to Roop, Gun, Leela, and so on. And so that mystery we will explain tomorrow. What is the mystery of Nam Smaran? Remembering the name. A very wonderful thing. So, just to recap what we have discussed today, we've discussed the importance of receiving initiation from a qualified guru and the mantra, and taking the seed of that desire, planted in the heart, and watering it by a daily practice, and it will grow and take us through all the levels of consciousness to the highest realm of Krishna's pastimes in Goloka Vrindavan. But today, especially, we are focused on a price that must be paid, the price of vigilance, because the weeds will grow. What are they? How to spot them, recognize them, and remove them. By your own effort, you will have to be a gardener and remove them, and also take help of the spiritual master. And especially to protect your spiritual life from the stampeding elephants of offense by associating with genuine saints. If you associate with the fake saints, they will teach you how to make more and more offenses, and you'll think that it's bhakti. So be careful. So, and then we have moved on to the subject of watering. We'll have to water the creeper by Shravan and Kirtan, hearing and chanting. But that hearing and chanting is practiced in stages, is a kram. Tan nama rupa charitadi sukirtananu smrityo kram. Kramena. There's a sequence in which the hearing and chanting should take place. So we just touched on that. We'll open that out tomorrow. And then we'll come to our final sutra, Lokavatu Lila Kaivalyam, which is in relation to the greatest mystery of spiritual life. The Lila, the play of God, and how Krishna exchanges rasa with all the living entities in his divine pastimes. So we'll get there gradually. If you try to go to the top of the tree too fast, there's a danger that you can fall down. You have to go up very carefully, step by step, to reach the fruit. Gaura Premanande. So are there any questions?
Sometimes I wonder if the word smaran is accurately translated as remembrance, because to my mind, remembrance means recalling something from the past, whereas smaran we understand to be thinking of something in the present. So I'm just wondering if there's a more accurate translation of the word smaran than remembrance.
No, because the word smaran is used in Sanskrit in a secular context. If something happens to someone and later they remember it, the same word is used, smaran. So it does mean remember. But in the context of devotion, it does actually deeply, it means something different to the way that we use the word remembrance in English, and the way that the Sanskrit word smaran is used also, than in the secular sense of ordinary experience. What happens is that when you experience something, the sensory experience leaves an impression in your chitta, a sanskar in your chitta, an impression there. So then later, you close your eyes and you can bring that impression from your subconscious to your conscious, like that. And that's what you call smaran, memory. So when you're seeing something in your mind that's not there, means that the chitta is a subtle element that can take any shape. It mimics the shape of the outer world. So that when you remember something, the mind is reproducing a facsimile of what was experienced earlier. Like that. That's what the chitta does. It's a very, I don't want to use the word liquid. It's finer than that. It's completely responsive. It reacts every moment to what's going on, and later it can reproduce that same experience even though the experience is no longer physically present, and that's called a memory. Okay? So, smaran means when the chitta morphs into the form of Krishna, is Rup Smaran. When the chitta creates in the chitta the qualities of Krishna and the pastimes of Krishna. Now actually the chitta has no capacity to do that. It has absolutely no, the material, the covering of chitta and mind cannot do that. The gunas influence our chitta to make it oscillate and produce our material thoughts. And when a devotee chants the holy name without offense, even before the pure name appears, the rays of the pure name cause the chitta of that living entity to self-organize itself into the form of Krishna. Just the rays of the name. Do that. By your own effort you cannot, but the name produces the memory of Krishna, though you've never seen him. And in that sense it's called smaran, memory, because the chitta is producing an experience. Though it's an experience you've never had, but still it's being produced in the chitta. So it's part of sadhana bhakti. And it comes just, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Shreya Kayeva Chandrika Vitarnam. The holy name is the moon, the rays of which cause the lotus of good fortune to open. That means that part of the poetry refers to the stage of ruchi. So in ruchi the devotee is not committing offense, and the rays of the pure name are nam abha. He's chanting the Shraddha Nam Abhas. So the rays of the pure name come, touch his mind and cause it to change shape. And in the stage of ruchi, the form and qualities of Krishna and the form, qualities and also the associates of Krishna begin to manifest in the mind. So when the devotee is either remembering a previous realization that he had of that, or it's coming right now by the influence of Namabhas, then it becomes smaran. So only when that realization is coming, the actual realization of the qualities of the associates of Krishna, then you can follow them. You know, because Raganuga Bhakti means Krishnam Smaram Janam Chasya, to remember Krishna along with an associate. So first the realization of Krishna comes and then his associates. then when you follow them, that's called the Raganuga Bhakti. So there's a huge difference between chanting and committing offenses to the name while imagining what an associate is like and pretending that you're following inside and thinking that you're doing Raganuga Bhakti, and actual internal awakening of Raganuga Bhakti that comes from chanting without offense. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sankirtana hoiti papa sangsara mochan Shuddha chitti sarva bhakti sadhana udgam. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's explanation of the verse Chaito Darpana Marjanam. He said, by Nam Sankirtan, first your pap, your sinful reactions are destroyed, then your chitta becomes purified, and within the pure chitta, sarva bhakti sadhana udgam. All types of sadhana bhakti awaken. So the sadhana of smaran is awakened in the heart automatically by the power of kirtan. But it should be not nam aparad, at least nam abhas, and gradually shuddha nam will come. Okay? So that's what smaran is. It's not imagination. Remembering Krishna is not imagination. Okay, so we'll have one kirtan. Yeah, we'll just sing Mahamantra and you offer arti, yeah? Okay? So, Balaram Prabhu will offer arti, everyone can stand, have darshan of the puja of Radha and Krishna, and we'll sing Mahamantra.